Okay, so this week we're talking about the volume of prisms and pyramids. A prism, it looks like this. We have some examples here. So we have two parallel sides, and whatever that side is the name of the prism. So this would be a square-based prism. We have two squares. This would be a rectangular-based prism because you have two rectangles, and so on. And the volume of the prism is the area of the base times the height. So for instance, you would find the area of this square, and you'd multiply by the height of the shape. So the height is the distance between the two bases. It's not always up and down, so it's not how tall something is. In this case, we have an octagon, I guess, and that would be the base. You'd find the area of that, and then that's the height, and you'd multiply by the height. So for this pentagon, you'd find the area of the pentagon somehow, and then multiply by the height of that shape. And that'll tell you how much space this 3D shape takes up in space. So, let me do this over again. Sorry about that. Okay, so we want to determine the volume of the shape here. So the shape of the base is a rectangle. And that would be the height. We want to find the area of the base. So for a rectangle, it's length times width. And you don't have to memorize any formulas, you'll get all of them. So that's 72. Now we want to find the volume. So we multiply by the height. So we take the 72, which is the area of the base, multiply by the height, get 504 inches cubed. So you can say cubic inches. Sometimes you'll see that written, but we'll just use inches cubed because that's the way that we'll be writing it for millimeters and centimeters and so on. So area of the base times the height. That tells you the volume. Doesn't matter what the prism is, it's the same formula, just the formula for finding the area of the base changes because the shape changes. So in this case, we have a triangle. So if I'm finding the area of the base, I can't use the formula for a rectangle, I have to use the formula for a triangle. So I have a triangle on the bottom. It looks like this. And the area is base times height divided by 2. So 10 times 10.5 divided by 2 is 52.5. And then we take that answer to find the volume, we multiply by the height. Don't remember what it is. 52.5 times 8 is 420 millimeters cubed. Again, for this volume, we have cubed. When it's area, so the area here would be millimeters squared. Okay, let's go to our next shape here. So this is a 6-sided shape. It's a hexagon. But you'll notice that it says 166 feet squared. So we've already been given the area of the base. I know that because it says squared. So I don't need to calculate it. I know the area of the base, which means that the 20 feet is there. That's the height. So when I'm finding the volume here, since we know it's the area of the base times the height, if the base area of the base is 166, it's already given to me in the question, and the height height is 20. We just have to multiply those two things to get 3,320 cubic feet or feet cubed. Either one doesn't matter. Okay, so always remember area of the base times the height. The formula sheet will have formulas for specific prisms, but as long as you remember area of the base times the height, you'll be able to find the volume for any prism. Doesn't matter what shape the base is. So this next one here is a bit of a challenge question for you. You got to figure out what the side lengths are. So just to give you a hint, think about what two numbers would multiply to give you 48, because they've given us the area of that side and the area of this side and the area of this side. Now, the area of one of the sides is helpful, but not the area of all sides, because I need to know what the height is. So you got to figure out the dimensions here. So if you can figure out, I'm giving you the answer here. If you can figure out two things that multiply to 48, and to see if one of those numbers works, and you'll be figuring out what this side is and what that side is. And then if you know that, then you'll be able to figure out what two numbers multiply to give you 30. And then you'd know what two numbers multiply to give you 40. Okay, if you don't get it, it's not a big deal. It's just a challenge question for you to try. Okay, so we have some practice problems here for you. The answers will be there. Now we're going to talk about the volume of pyramids. So pyramids are shapes that come to a point, and this is our formula. This hopefully looks familiar. It's what we just did, area of the base times the height. It's just once you do that, you divide your answer by 3. The reason it's by 3 is something that I don't want to get into in this video, but if you look it up on the internet, you'll figure it out. If we were in class together, I'd show you a video, but maybe I'll link it in the notes. All right, so find the volume of the pyramid. Area of the base times the height divided by 3. So area of the base times the height, all of that divided by 3. So here we've been given the area of the base of 21. And I know that because it's squared. If it wasn't squared, then that would be something else. The height of the shape is 6 feet. So you'd multiply that and divide by 3. So 21 times 6 is 126. And then we divide that by 3 to get 42. 42, and we're talking about volume, so cubic feet, or feet cubed. Okay, so I'm going to skip number 2. I think you guys can figure that out. Number 3. So here the area of the base is a triangle. So we're not given that. For number 2 and 3, we're not given the area of the base, so we got to figure it out. Triangle, 7 by 18, base times height divided by 2, so 7 times 18, 126, 2 is going to be, divided by 2 is 63, so the area of the base is 63 centimeters squared. Now we want to find the volume, the whole shape. So we take that area, which is 63, we multiply by the height of the shape, which is 11. And because it's a pyramid, we divide that answer by 3. So 63 times 11, 693. And we divide that by 3 to get 231. and it's centimeters cubed. Okay, so remember, volume is area of the base times the height divided by 3 when it is a pyramid. So a cone is a pyramid just with a circle on the bottom. So the area of the base, we have a circle with a radius of 3. So the area of a circle is pi r squared. Pi is 3.14, which you should memorize. The radius is 3, but it's r squared, so it's going to be 3 squared, which means 3 times 3. So 3.14 times 3 squared is 28.26 centimeters squared. Now, to find the volume, we have to do area of the base times the height divided by 3. And I'm dividing by 3 because it comes to a point. But here's the problem. I don't know what the height is. However, I do see that there is a triangle here. Where I know 2 sides. So if I want to figure out what that side is, I can use Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. 8 squared plus 3 squared equals 5 squared. Remember that c has to be the longest side, the hypotenuse. So h squared plus 9 equals 25. I want to solve for 9. Sorry, for h, so I need to get rid of the 9. Subtract the 9. So h squared is equal to 16. And I'm going to need to do the opposite of squaring, which is the square root of 16, which is 4. So now I know the height is 4. So now I can go back to my volume here. Since the area of the base was 28.26, and we just figured out using Pythagorean theorem that the height is 4, we can multiply and divide by 3. 37.68 centimeters cubed would be our final volume. And again, there's some practice questions here for you to try, and the answers will be on D2L.